Hi everyone, welcome to my channel, and today we're going to take a look at another horrible case with you, the story of Christy Shawn and Joseph Codd. How could a friend become the perpetrator of such a heinous act? It begs the question, how well do we truly know those in our circles? While friends often know us inside out, there are instances where individuals feign friendship only to exploit our vulnerabilities later. Friendship, for many, is a cornerstone of life, yet it's precisely in these bonds where tragedy can unfold. The devastating loss of Christy Shawn and Joseph Codd in 2015 sent shockwaves through the serene town of Lear, North Carolina. Their anticipation of welcoming a new family member was met with unspeakable horror as their assailant turned out to be someone they trusted implicitly, a friend. And tragically, they weren't his only victims. Christy Shawn, born in Madrid, Spain in 1976, grew up in a nomadic military family, her father serving in the US Air Force. Moving across Europe before returning to the United States, her childhood was marked by constant change. Yet amidst the upheaval, she thrived, embodying resilience and adaptability. Christy began her education in New Orleans, Louisiana, but within a year, her family uprooted to Texas, then Illinois. Subsequently, she spent several years in various Latin American countries. While the nomadic lifestyle posed challenges, it also offered advantages. Christy, fluent in multiple languages from a young age, immersed herself in diverse cultures and traditions. However, adolescence brought its own set of hurdles as she navigated new environments and social circles. Just as she acclimated, it was time to relocate once more. Yet, it was precisely this constant flux that honed her communication skills. Christy's ability to connect with others, coupled with her affable nature, earned her a reputation as a charming and sociable young woman. Moreover, her active participation in sports, from gymnastics to kickboxing, underscored her versatility and determination. After her father's retirement from the military, the family settled in Balloy, Mississippi. Here, Christy finally found genuine friendships and discovered a new passion: cooking. The teenager relished in concocting various dishes, experimenting freely in the kitchen, earning praise for her culinary creations. While her parents envisioned her becoming a professional chef, Christy surprised everyone by uncovering a hidden talent for acting. Enrolling in an acting academy in Los Angeles, Christy seized every opportunity to make her mark in the entertainment industry. She appeared in commercials, graced theater stages, and even landed minor roles in high-profile Hollywood productions, including stunt performances in the Terminator franchise. Despite her striking appearance and evident talent, Christy struggled to secure significant acting roles. Undeterred, she turned her focus to her culinary skills and sports, transforming her passions into a lucrative business venture. Participating in popular culinary TV shows elevated her to celebrity status, and she even reached the finals of the next Food Network star. Christy's catering company, with its emphasis on proper nutrition and original recipes, garnered success, paving the way for her to contemplate starting her own farm. Alongside her culinary endeavors, she conducted online courses on nutrition and embarked on various other projects. In 2012, fate intervened when Christy crossed paths with Joseph Timothy Codd, known as JT, a casting director in television. Their instant connection at a casting event in Los Angeles blossomed into a romantic relationship, despite their age difference and JT's ongoing divorce proceedings. Enchanted by Christy's charm and beauty, JT courted her fervently, marking the beginning of a fateful encounter that would change both their lives. Embracing his attention, the young woman welcomed Joseph's advances, leading to the blossoming of a romantic relationship. Joseph wholeheartedly supported Christy's ideas, and together they embarked on the ambitious project of starting their own farm. Deciding to leave behind their life in Los Angeles, they relocated from sunny California to North Carolina. Selling Christie's thriving catering business and Joseph's Hollywood home, they pooled their resources to purchase a sizable piece of land in the town of Leicester. With a spacious house and nearly an acre of land, they set out to realize their dream. While Joseph continued his remote collaborations with TV channels, Christie devoted herself to developing her personal blog on nutrition and a healthy lifestyle. Their relationship flourished, marked by love and harmony. In August 2014, they celebrated their union with a lavish wedding attended by hundreds of guests, including friends, family, colleagues, and even admirers of the famous couple. Their happiness multiplied when, 3 months after the wedding, they received the joyful news of expecting their first child. Their excitement knew no bounds as they eagerly anticipated the arrival of their baby, a beacon of hope for their future together. After learning they were expecting a daughter, Christie excitedly shared their decision to name their firstborn Skylar during a phone call with her mother. As the pregnancy progressed smoothly, their anticipation grew. However, their joy was abruptly cut short by the mysterious disappearance of the Codd family. Christie, 5 months pregnant and actively preparing for the baby's arrival, maintained regular contact with her parents, updating them on her well-being and chatting with her mother frequently. Concern arose when Christie's mother failed to reach her on March 13th, initially dismissing it as nothing serious. But when calls continued to go unanswered the next day, and both Christie and Joseph's phones remained off, by March 15th, alarm bells rang. With Christie and Joseph's parents residing in other states, unable to swiftly check on their children, Christie's mother enlisted the help of a close friend, Cecily. Arriving at the Codd residence, Cecily noticed the couple's cars parked outside, but received no response to her knocks and shouts. Peering through a window, she spotted the couple's beloved dogs confined to a room, a sight inconceivable as they would never willingly leave them alone. Further inspection revealed a broken back door lock, indicating a forced entry into the home. The unsettling discovery heightened suspicions, prompting Cecily to take swift action, alerting authorities to the ominous signs of the Codd family's sudden disappearance. She promptly alerted Christie's mother, who immediately called the police. Responding officers confirmed signs of forced entry through the back door and found the interior in disarray, suggesting a thorough search had taken place. Among the missing items were valuables, including a jewelry box and a breached safe in the couple's bedroom. Despite the chaos, there were no indications of a struggle or evidence of the couple being forcibly detained. The perpetrator had operated with caution, leaving no fingerprints or DNA traces behind, complicating the investigation. Despite the absence of concrete evidence, the family clung to a glimmer of hope that Joseph, 45, and his 38-year-old pregnant wife, Christie, were still alive. However, experienced officers harbored little optimism. In the initial days, the investigation hit a standstill. Despite extensive efforts, no substantial leads emerged. The missing couple had no known enemies or adversaries, rendering the motive elusive. The spouse's phones, last used on March 12th for incoming calls before becoming inactive, provided little insight. In a bid to break the impasse, the police turned to the couple's neighbors for any possible clues or information that could shed light on the mysterious disappearance. A compelling detail emerged. A neighbor witnessed another local resident disposing of a large bundle into a trash bin near the Codd's home on the morning of March 15th. Initially dismissing it as inconsequential, upon learning of the couple's disappearance, the neighbor deemed the information relevant to the investigation. Unfortunately, by the time authorities were alerted, the trash had already been collected, necessitating a search at the dump for potential evidence. The resident who discarded the bundle was identified as 36-year-old Robert Jason Owens, a familiar face on the same street, and a purported close family friend of the Codds. Initially, his association with the couple seemed innocuous. However, locals described Owens as peculiar and unpredictable. On March 16th, Owens was brought in for questioning but denied involvement in the disappearance and claimed ignorance of the bundle. However, a pivotal turn of events occurred when a similar bundle containing items from the missing couple's home was discovered at the landfill. DNA evidence, including Owens' fingerprints and traces on burnt clothing, linked him to the crime scene. Subsequent searches of Owens' home unearthed charred human skeletal remains in his wood stove. Despite his initial denials, Owens eventually confessed to the double homicide, albeit asserting it was accidental. According to his account, the incident occurred on the evening of March 12th. The couple's happiness was tragically short-lived when the mysterious disappearance of the mother, who was 5 months pregnant and actively preparing for the arrival of their baby, occurred a few days after the doctor informed them that they were expecting a daughter, and during a phone conversation with her mother, Christ mentioned that they had decided to name their firstborn Skylar. She spoke with her mother and gave updates on her health over the almost daily phone calls to her parents, who lived in a different state. However, on March 13th, 2015, her mother was unable to get through to her daughter. At first, she did not give it much thought, but the situation repeated the following day, when calls went through, but no one answered her son-in-law's phone either. By March 15th, both spouses' phones had been turned off. Christine's mother became concerned because she couldn't quickly check on her children's home because Christine and Joseph's parents lived in different states. So Christine called a close friend of her daughter, Cecily, who lived nearby and could check on them at their home when the friend arrived at the Codd residence. She noticed that the couple's personal vehicles were parked in front of the home, but the front door was locked. No one answered when she knocked or yelled, and the couple's phones had not been on for 3 days, which raised serious suspicions through a window. When the woman decided to take a walk around the house, she noticed that the back door lock had been forcefully broken, indicating that someone had either entered the house or attempted to do so. Seriously noticed that the couple's cherished dogs, whom they would never willingly leave alone, were locked inside one of the rooms. She quickly called Christ's mother, who then promptly alerted the police. Upon arrival, officers confirmed a break-in through the back door, finding signs of a search inside. Valuables, including a jewelry box and breached safe, were reported stolen. Despite the absence of blood or signs of struggle, the cautious perpetrator left no fingerprints or DNA. Relatives hoped Joseph and pregnant Christy were still alive, but officers remained pessimistic. The investigation initially stalled with no significant evidence, as the missing couple had no known enemies. The couple's phones, last used on March 12th, were left at home, only recording incoming calls until they died the next day. Police turned to questioning neighbors for leads. If they had noticed anything strange or suspicious recently, an interesting detail emerged. A neighbor across the street saw another local resident tossing a large bundle into a trash bin near the couple's home on the morning of March 15th. Initially, he thought little of it, but upon learning of the couple's disappearance, he deemed the information potentially useful for the investigation. Unfortunately, checking the bin's contents was no longer possible, as the trash had been taken to the dump the day before. The police aimed to speak with the person who discarded the bundle, revealed to be 36-year-old Robert Jason Owens, a well-acquainted neighbor and family friend of the couple. Owens, initially denying involvement, saw a dramatic shift in the situation when the same bundle was discovered at the landfill the following evening, containing items from the couple's home with Owens' fingerprints and DNA traces. This evidence confirmed police suspicions of foul play. A search of Owens' home uncovered charred human skeletal remains in his wood stove. Despite denials, Owens eventually confessed to the double homicide, claiming it was accidental. He made the decision to visit his friend's house, but he had to veer off the road to avoid running over a dog and getting stuck in the mud. He then walked to the Codd's house and asked for assistance in getting his car out. The couple was friendly and accommodating, and while they were pushing the car, Robert, who was sitting at the wheel, inadvertently mixed up the gas and brake pedals, striking and running over the couple. The couple was terrified that he would be accused of taking their lives, so he decided to conceal the incident rather than calling the police or emergency services. Returning to the Codd's home, he broke through the back door, took blankets from the bedroom to move the bodies, which he wasn't sure were dead. He wrapped the bodies, put them in his pickup's bed, and drove them to his house, where he used a saw and a small axe to dismember them in his own bathroom. Next, he lit his stove and started slowly tossing pieces of his friends' bodies into the fire in the hopes that the blood-soaked blankets. Strangely, he decided against burning and instead put the rubbish in a bag to be thrown off in a dumpster. He reasoned that once the trash was hauled to the landfill, no one would be able to locate anything, as Robert had claimed. Even seasoned police officers in his home were shocked by the brutality with which Robert disposed of his friends' bodies and the eerie calmness with which he related the events. He chose to stage a burglary, but in reality, he had broken into his friend's house himself, stealing money and valuables that he pawned. The crime was unsolved the following day. Law enforcement decided to look further into the suspect's background after discovering a saw and an axe stained with blood, skin fragments from the deceased, and evidence that the accused had not even tried to hide or clean the tools, confident that the investigation would never lead to him, because he had left no trace at the Codd's house. Forensic analysis confirmed that the bone fragments found in Owens's stove belonged to the missing couple. Robert was single, had no children, and had not been in regular contact with his relatives since moving back to Asheville, North Carolina. He was unaware at the time, and his uncle had asked him to lure the young man to a secluded spot. When the three of them ended up in a wooded area on the road to Lure, the uncle ordered them to stop the car and signaled Quinn to do the same. Once the young man stepped out, Walter shot him silently and then instructed his nephew to help dismember and package the body, which was burned on Robert's property that same night and encased in concrete. Interrogating Walter Owens was no longer possible, as he had died several years before his nephew's horrific confession. No evidence was found at the supposed crime scene, and the story sounded very unconvincing. Legal proceedings, plea agreements, and the final verdict followed. Initially, Robert faced charges of first-degree double murder, murder of an unborn child, dismemberment, concealment of evidence, burglary, and robbery. All these charges could have led to the death penalty, but it was revealed that the defendant had long suffered from depression and mental disorders, taking powerful medication which his lawyer used as a foundation for defense. Thanks to a well-constructed defense strategy, the accused could have been found insane and sent to a psychiatric clinic instead of prison, which neither the prosecution nor the victim's relatives found satisfactory. At the same time, the investigation into Quinn's case began, from which the criminal might also escape unpunished. In 2017, the defendant agreed to a plea deal admitting guilt in the murder of the Codds in exchange for a guaranteed removal of the death penalty from potential sentences. For this case, he was found guilty of second-degree manslaughter, dismemberment, incineration of bodies, burglary, and robbery. In total, he was sentenced to 59 years in prison. In 2022, Owens made another plea deal with the authorities, this time regarding Quinn's case. However, he only admitted to complicity in murder and assisting in hiding the evidence. For this crime, He received an additional 12 years added to his already effectively life sentence. After the sentencing, the murderer addressed the court, asking forgiveness from the relatives of the people he had killed. He again spoke of his innocence, attributing everything to an unfortunate accident and citing his mental disorder and the influence of strong medication, which impaired his judgment. However, the relatives of Christ and Joseph Codd, as well as Quinn's family, did not believe him. They have never reconciled with the term unintentional murder and believe that in both cases the man acted deliberately and for selfish motives. Thanks for watching, guys. Subscribe to my channel. There are many shocking stories ahead of you.